Hi there, YouTube. This is Ben with BRG Music. I wanted to share today one of my favorite techniques. Uh, this is economy picking, or sweeping through scales, so to speak. I kind of came into this on accident, and it's based on things I used to practice anyway. When I started off, I would play three note patterns for exercise, like that, where I'm doing hammer-ons and pull-offs, hitting the first note on each string. I do three strings, and I'd use a downstroke going this way to start each group, and an upstroke going this way to start each group. Like if I'm playing the first group, 4, 5, 7, like. Just kind of letting the pick drag through the strings, on each of the first of the group, and the same thing going backwards. Years later, not years, I guess, a little bit later, I got into alternate picking a whole lot, and I'd practice that, so I'd play. Applying that to the idea, and then playing my scales that way. Well, then I discovered that I could use the technique from the previous idea as a way to get an efficient run at the scale, rather than constant alternate motion. I could use that push and pull to accomplish a little nice, kind of an efficient way to pick through the scale, I guess. So what I did was basically, something that other players do too, that use this technique. I'm going to do the Locrian Mode. I'll start at the 4th fret. So I'm going to play 4, 5, 7 on both the E and A strings, 4, 6, 7 on the D and G, and then 5, 7, 9 on the B and E strings, okay? So I'd play down, up, down on the first string, and the same thing on the next string. And I kind of carry that motion all the way through. So while I'm traveling this way, each string starts with a downstroke. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. And the motion is kind of nice. And then coming backwards using up, down, up. And I'm not getting crazy with the picking. There's not a lot of travel when I do it. It's basically really down, up, down, kind of, and then push right through. Like that. Now this does have limits, if you're going to do something that loops and needs to play really fast, sometimes alternate picking is the only way to go, or legato, whatever you want to use. But if you want a fast flurry of notes and to get through the scale quick, this is a great technique. You can practice it in scales. You can practice it as finger exercises. But it takes a little time to get used to. And in order to really get the hang of it, you need to be a decent alternate picker anyway. So I certainly took plenty of time and practiced a lot of alternate picking before really falling into this. And like I said, it was kind of a culmination of a couple ideas. Early legato exercise ideas plus, the scale work I was doing anyway. So how do I practice this if I'm just wanting to practice just the picking? Well, I take a couple simple fingering ideas. Think about your major scale patterns as in three basic shapes. A half step and a whole step, first and second finger and then pinky, or a whole step and a half step, first and third then pinky, or two whole steps, first, second, and pinky. And I would start something like this. I like the first, second, fourth finger pattern. I'd start at the first, second, and fourth fret of the low E string, go across the neck, shift up a half fret and reverse it, like. Continue on. Something like that, you know, just kind of a nice uniform thing that I can just kind of a constant motion without a lot of thought. I'm just doing a fingering, you know, and I can mute it or unmute it depending on what I feel like. I can accelerate, decelerate, but kind of going for an even kind of sound. Control is a big thing, you know, and it's tricky to get control, especially with sweeps and ideas that go with or counter to gravity. And I would do the same thing with the 1, 3, 4 fingering. Same kind of thing, and I go back down the neck the same fashion. So up, and in this case I'm starting on an odd number fret, ascend the odd number fret, descend the even, go to the next odd, ascend, the next even, descend, you know, kind of pattern. And then doing the same thing with the other scale pattern, the wider one, the 2 whole steps. So I've covered those 3 kind of ideas. Now, when you play scales, you're not just going to use those 3 fingerings, obviously. There's other things that happen. You have harmonic minor scales and melodic minor scales and these other types of scales, harmonic major, whatever, Neapolitan, Hungarian scales that form different patterns. Now, melodic minor, you don't run into this as much, but the other types, Hungarian minor, Neapolitan minor, and harmonic minor, you're going to have like a step and a half and then a half step, or a half step and a half, and you want to practice those too. Now, they might be tricky to play lower on the neck, but that is going to be really good for you, you know. You know, it kind of sounds random, and some of the stretches are tricky. My hands aren't huge by any means, but that's a great way to do it. And I would typically start something like this. I'd start higher on the neck and work my way down to get the stretch, you know, rather than starting at the first fret. And then the other pattern would be like a step and a half followed by half step. So there's that guy, and that covers a lot of what you're going to do in the lower register anyway, with the first finger to pinky. Now, higher on the neck or in certain scale patterns, you might use the first, second, and third finger to do everything. So I start these kind of patterns like at like 7 or 9 or something like that, and work them up an octave or so. So it'd be like 7 and 8 would be my half step, and then 10 would be my whole step. something like that. That way I'm covering that style of playing and getting a different set of fingers worked out. Do the same thing. 7 to 9 would be my whole step, and 10 would be my half step. And then doing the same thing with the 2 whole steps, 7, 9, 11. Something like that, and it's a great workout and a good way to get your fingers ready for scales, because what you do is you play combinations of those types of ideas. You can strictly alternate pick those too. You could do hammer-ons and pull-offs if you felt up to it, but I'm using that economy picking technique because I really like to work on that, just to be efficient as possible. If I play a show like a 4-hour cover show or something, I need, especially by the end of the show, I want to have some gas in the tank to finish out the set strong. So being efficient and having good endurance are going to help you play through these things. All right. For example, let's just look at an Ionian mode real quick or something like it in A. So play 5, 7, 9, and then 6, 7, 9, and then 7, 9, 10 would be my patterns, and I just use the first to fourth finger patterns. And for fun, in order to kind of turn that around, I would slide that up and then play the Dorian mode with the opposite picking, the up, down, up. That would be 12, 10, 9 on the E and B strings. And it would be, for the next 3 strings, the G, D, and A would be 11 through 7, 11, 9, 7, and then finishing with 10, 9, 7 on the E string. And in this case, because of the way the scale maps out, the way it just kind of falls in the fingers, I'll use the pinky finger, second finger, first finger for the wide fingerings, but then finish with that ring finger on the 10th fret. Ring finger, second finger, first finger coming down. So and then that gives me something I can loop and play and just work on the technique in a more musical fashion than just playing random patterns. Just for the heck of it, just running something like that over and over again, just kind of getting a workout. And you could actually go through all the modes in that same manner, where you go up Ionian, down Dorian, up Phrygian, etc., whatever kind of pattern you want, and learn some new things along the way. So sweeping through scales, economy picking is a very sweet technique, and there's a couple things to kind of help you iron out not only that type of technique, but just your left hand ideas how it applies to different scales, and hopefully that gives you some gauge and some idea of things you can work on, rather than just playing through scales. Just think of them as rudiments. Like drummers have rudiments, guitar players need rudiments, in my opinion, and this would be one of them, that we could throw in and think of those as like different rudiments to work on that are essential to your playing, But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, drop them below. Like and subscribe to my channel. I post lessons and repairs and product demos and all kinds of things pretty much on a regular basis. You can visit our website, www.brgmusic.com. You can call us at 515-329-0120. You can drop by if you're in the Des Moines area. We are about 30 miles northwest of the metro on Highway 141 in Perry, Iowa. We like to, talk shop and hang out, play gear, and have fun. You can see we got some guitars in the back here, used, new and used, all kinds. And we buy, we sell, we trade, etc. So stop in if you're in the area, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. I'll see you later.